This incident took place in the United States, involving Sabrina Zunich. Sabrina was born on October 27, 1994, in Cleveland, Ohio, USA, to Susan Edwards and Mark Zunich. Sabrina's parents led antisocial lifestyles, and as a result, she was raised by her paternal grandmother from the age of 3. At 4 years old, Sabrina was diagnosed with attention deficit hyperactivity disorder (ADHD), caused by a nervous system dysfunction. As she grew older, it became increasingly difficult for Sabrina to control herself. Her impulsive behavior frequently led to conflicts with others and fights with classmates. Due to her persistent displays of aggression, Sabrina was separated from her grandmother at the age of 14 and placed in a shelter under the supervision of the Lake County Department of Children's Services. For the next 2 years, Sabrina lived in the shelter. In 2011, at the age of 16, she was adopted by the Knoffel family and moved into their home in a Cleveland suburb. Sabrina's adoptive mother, Lisa Knoffel, was a kind-hearted woman who genuinely loved children and sought to help those around her. Lisa was born on May 2, 1971, to Clark and Rita, in Reynoldsburg, Ohio. In 2000, Lisa moved to Lake County, where she eventually started a family with a man named Kevin Knoffel and became the mother of 2 daughters, Megan and Haley. Lisa worked in the Department of Children and Family Services in Cuyahoga County, Ohio. She had always dreamed of opening her own children's home, and when she finally did, she adopted Sabrina. Being part of the Knoffel family had a positive impact on Sabrina. As a high school student, she began to excel academically, earning good grades and making plans for her future. Sabrina once confessed to her adoptive parents that she dreamed of becoming a model and studying cosmetology. Lisa and Kevin were thrilled with the progress of their formerly troubled foster daughter and noted the great relationship Sabrina had not only with them but also with their biological daughters. Sabrina had a particularly warm bond with Lisa. Family and friends remarked that the two seemed more like sisters than mother and daughter. Sabrina often expressed admiration for Lisa, seeing her as a role model and genuinely regarding her as an older sister. Unfortunately, the harmony in the family did not last long. Problems began 6 months after Sabrina joined the family. Suddenly, she started accusing Lisa of not loving her enough and paying more attention to her biological daughters. As the relationship between Sabrina and Lisa became strained, the bond between Sabrina and Kevin grew stronger. The stepfather and foster daughter became closer by the day, to the point where friends and family noticed their suspicious behavior. Conversations and jokes exchanged between Sabrina and Kevin resembled those of lovers rather than family members. On October 27, 2012, Sabrina turned 18. By law, she was expected to begin living independently and leave her foster family. However, Sabrina asked her adoptive parents for permission to stay a little longer so she could finish high school without disruptions. On the night of November 16, 2012, around 1 a.m., Sabrina took a knife, entered Lisa's bedroom, and stood by her bed. For 15 minutes, she silently watched Lisa sleeping before launching a brutal attack. Sabrina stabbed Lisa repeatedly with a 10-inch serrated kitchen knife. Lisa woke up after the first few blows and screamed in pain, but her cries soon ceased. Lisa's 13-year-old daughter Megan, hearing her mother's voice, ran to the bedroom and saw Sabrina holding the knife. Terrified, Megan immediately called emergency services, screaming and sobbing as she reported that her sister was trying to kill their mother.
911 was an emergency. What's going on? Who had the knife? What's going on? Is someone hurt?
She's stabbing my mom.
She stabbed your mom?
Yeah. Please, 251 Chagrin Drive, let the female with stab wounds. Attention.
When police arrived at the scene, it was too late. Officers found Sabrina with several superficial cuts on her body, still holding the bloodied knife she had used to attack Lisa. Lisa lay lifeless, covered in blood. Sabrina appeared to be in shock but followed the officer's instructions clearly. Officer Randy Mulinix instructed her to drop the knife and put her hands behind her head, and she complied without resistance. While Sabrina did not resist arrest, she also refused to answer any questions at the police station. Meanwhile, investigators completed their search of the house and found Lisa's youngest daughter locked in a closet. Kevin Knoffel, the adoptive father of Sabrina Zunich, was away on a work trip as a long-haul truck driver. The shocking news about his wife's murder reached him through a police phone call. Shortly after, Kevin contacted 911 to inquire about the condition of his daughters. He was informed that he could pick them up from the police station the next day. When Kevin arrived, officers noted his unusually calm demeanor. They had expected a man devastated by the brutal murder of his wife, but Kevin appeared detached. He collected his daughters with minimal questions and left the station, leaving police and even family members suspicious of his reaction. Kevin's behavior raised alarms not only among investigators but also among the couple's friends and relatives. Shortly thereafter, Kevin attempted to visit Sabrina in jail, but his request was denied. The rejection shattered his calm facade. Frustrated and visibly angry, Kevin left the jail in a foul mood. The gruesome crime garnered widespread media attention. Investigators revealed that Lisa Knaufel had been stabbed 178 times in various parts of her body, including her head, neck, torso, and limbs. While Sabrina's involvement as the killer was clear, her motive remained a mystery. Detectives spent the following 10 months piecing together details of the crime and delving into the peculiar relationship between Sabrina and Kevin. Early witness testimonies hinted at disturbing dynamics. Sabrina had reportedly told a social worker that Kevin had paid her to pose for nude photographs. Just a week before the murder, Kevin had contacted the same social worker, mentioning that he and Lisa were considering divorce but wanted to retain custody of Sabrina. Additionally, one of Sabrina's friends disclosed that in early October 2012, Kevin had asked her to help him find a hitman. This information led investigators to suspect Kevin's involvement in planning Lisa's murder. Their suspicions were further fueled by financial evidence. Kevin had taken out 2 life insurance policies on Lisa, totaling $800,000, and finalized them just hours after her death was confirmed. In the days following the murder, Kevin made numerous extravagant purchases. Initially, Sabrina denied Kevin's role in the crime. However, after 9 months in custody, she felt abandoned by her adoptive father and decided to cooperate with investigators. In August 2013, Sabrina confessed that Kevin had masterminded the murder and provided explicit details about their relationship and his sinister plan. Sabrina admitted that she and Kevin had been romantically involved since March 2012. Their relationship began innocently when Sabrina offered to massage Kevin's feet after he returned home exhausted from a long drive. Over time, their attraction grew, and by September, they were regular sexual partners. According to Sabrina, Lisa had no knowledge of the affair, as the two took great care to keep it hidden. Kevin frequently sent Sabrina text messages professing his love and expressing his desire to leave Lisa. Kevin eventually revealed his plan to Sabrina, promising her a bright future funded by Lisa's life insurance payout. He assured Sabrina that they would buy a house and a car together and that she would take on the role of mother to his daughters. Although Sabrina initially resisted the idea of killing Lisa and suggested divorce instead, Kevin dismissed the notion. He claimed that Lisa would fight to take the children away if he pursued a divorce. Kevin even joked that a dead Lisa was worth more to him than a living one. Kevin's plan began to take shape. He convinced Sabrina to stab Lisa to death, steal some jewelry, and stage the scene to look like a botched robbery. He provided the knife for the murder and even instructed Sabrina on how to inflict maximum damage. Kevin also coached her to feign mental instability if she were caught. The tipping point for Sabrina came on the morning of November 15, 2012, the day before the murder. While driving her to school, Kevin suddenly stopped the car and began crying. He told Sabrina about a heated argument he had with Lisa the previous night and confessed that he couldn't live with her any longer. Kevin's emotional breakdown convinced Sabrina that he might take his own life if Lisa remained alive. Motivated by her love for Kevin and her fear of losing him, Sabrina resigned herself to carrying out the murder. Investigators reviewed Sabrina's testimony and decided that Kevin should be arrested. On August 9, 2013, the 43-year-old widower was taken into custody and charged with conspiracy to commit aggravated murder and complicity in the crime. Sabrina agreed to testify against him in exchange for the possibility of parole after 30 years. In May 2014, the trial began. Prosecutor Patrick Condon stated that there was no doubt who had actually committed the murder. However, it was evident that Kevin was fully aware of what was going to happen on the morning of November 16. He had helped Sabrina plan the murder, making him complicit. When Sabrina took the stand, she admitted to her romantic relationship with Kevin and detailed how they had planned the crime. She assured the court that the idea came from Kevin, and she had only carried it out because she loved him and didn't want him to suffer. Sabrina told the jury she hoped justice would prevail, as she wasn't the only person involved in the crime.
What was his relationship to you?
It was when a foster father when needed to be, and when a lover when not being a foster father.
To shed light on Kevin's behavior after the murder, the prosecution called several officials who had participated in the investigation. One police officer, who was among the first to meet Kevin the day after the murder, testified that the widower appeared surprisingly calm. Colleagues of the victim were also called to testify. Erica Gator, one of Lisa's co-workers, recounted how she had visited Kevin's home the day after the murder to bring food for him and his daughters. She noted how casual and unemotional he seemed. Erica also shared that at Lisa's funeral, Kevin displayed no visible signs of grief. The prosecution also summoned several individuals linked to insurance companies. They testified that on the morning of Lisa's murder, Kevin called them to inquire about the documents needed to claim the life insurance policy he had recently taken out on his wife. The medical examiner from Lake County, who had examined Lisa's body, gave a harrowing account of the numerous severe injuries inflicted on her. He stated that 2 wounds were fatal: a stab to the jaw that severed the carotid artery and another to the chest. The examiner noted that the sheer number of wounds indicated Lisa had fought back, struggling for her life for several minutes. Although investigators could not produce copies of text messages exchanged between Sabrina and Kevin, they provided data on the volume of communication. According to the cellular provider, between November 1 and November 16, 2012, the pair exchanged 491 messages and made 78 calls. Kevin's attorney, Michael Connick, argued that Sabrina was solely responsible for Lisa's murder. He pointed out the lack of physical evidence proving a romantic relationship between Kevin and Sabrina and the absence of explicit text messages implicating Kevin in the murder plot. The defense maintained that the prosecution's case relied solely on Sabrina's testimony, which she gave to secure a reduced sentence. Connick also argued that Lisa had demanded Sabrina move out of their home by January 1, 2013, which was the true motive for the crime. Kevin, on the other hand, refused to testify in court. After 5 hours of deliberation, on June 11, the jury found Kevin guilty on all 11 counts. On August 6, 2014, Judge Joseph Gibson sentenced him to life imprisonment with the possibility of parole after 30 years. Kevin will first be eligible for parole in 2044 when he turns 73. The defense announced plans to appeal the verdict, focusing on expert testimony about Sabrina's mental health issues. According to the defense, these psychological problems drove her to commit the murder alone. Following her courtroom confession, Sabrina was charged with premeditated murder with aggravating circumstances. Her attorney, Charles Graves, stated that his client pleaded guilty, a fact Sabrina confirmed during an August 2014 hearing. On September 29 of that year, the 19-year-old was sentenced to life imprisonment with the possibility of parole after 30 years. This means Sabrina will be eligible for parole in 2042 when she turns 47. Hearing the verdict, Sabrina broke down in tears. The judge explained that the only reason she was granted the possibility of parole was her cooperation with investigators. While the judge acknowledged that Kevin had manipulated Sabrina and used her to achieve his goals, he emphasized that the crime she committed went beyond the scope of his initial plan. The judge also ordered her to pay $6 million in restitution to Lisa's 2 daughters. Now 29 years old, Sabrina is serving her sentence at the Dayton Correctional Institution, a women's prison in Ohio established in 1987.